Hello and welcome to ScaleUp Radio Shorts. I'm Kevin Brent and I'm here with Granger Forson.
Hey everyone, we're the founders of Smart 90, the proven 90-day execution system designed for scaling businesses.
That's right, Granger. And in these short episodes, we're going to be bringing you some of the key insights and actionable takeaways from our full-length ScaleUp Radio interviews.
Our goal is to give you a quick dose of inspiration and practical advice that you can apply to your own business. So, let's dive in.
So, Granger, who's the first guest we're going to be talking about today?
Our first guest is Jennifer Appleton, who is the director at ISO Quality Services and also Oak House Workspace.
Right. ISO Quality Services, a family-run business celebrating over 25 years now, I think, and Oak House Workspace. Tell us about that.
Oak House Workspace, well, that's their venture that stemmed from the family purchasing their office building, securing ISO's future, and then converting empty units into a workspace.
Fantastic, and Jennifer joined about 15 years ago, initially in sales, and then gradually took on more responsibilities, eventually becoming managing director.
Yeah, her transition into the business was described as a complete accident after helping out when her dad was ill.
So they primarily operate on a recurring income model for client maintenance, with training services as a growth area, and they assist companies with ISO certification, like ISO 9001 for quality management. Right, so who's next on the list, Granger?
Next up, we had a really interesting chat with Matthew Naylor. He's the owner of Whitestone, which is an independent financial advisory firm.
Ah, yes, Matthew, a qualified lawyer by training, wasn't he?
He was indeed. He initially found himself in a financial services administration role and just kind of progressed through the industry from there. It's quite a change, isn't it? From law to financial advice.
It is. And I remember him saying that the catalyst for starting his own firm, Whitestone, was his previous employer being acquired, leading to changes he didn't align with. So it prompted him to, in his own words, take that risk and do it my way.
I like that. And Whitestone is all about providing that personal service, helping clients understand their financial position and plan for their goals. Being independent allows him to recommend the best products for clients, not being tied to specific providers. And I think that came across really strongly in our discussion.
Definitely a focus on recurring income derived from ongoing fees and building strong client relationships. Okay, so we've got Jennifer and Matthew. Who else did we speak to? Who's next, Granger?
Last but not least, we spoke with Lorraine Allman. She's the founder of Party Without Plastic.
Ah, yes, Lorraine. Another serial entrepreneur, isn't she?
Absolutely. Over 20 years of experience across various ventures, including a failed tech company, a successful speed mentoring business that was acquired, and now Party Without Plastic. It's quite the journey.
What's Party Without Plastic all about then?
It's a marketplace curating sustainable plastic-free party supplies from UK small businesses, operating on a commission-based model.
Right, so a real focus on sustainability there. Where did the idea come from?
Actually, it's a pretty cool story. Lorraine's inspiration for the business came unexpectedly from her teenage son Dylan, whose passion for raising awareness about declining hedgehog numbers made her reflect on her own contribution to environmental issues.
Wow, that's a great story. So she saw the vast plastic waste from parties and weddings and thought, there's an opportunity here to make sustainable celebrating easy and build a legacy.
Exactly. And she's very open about learning from her past business failures and stresses the importance of discussing failure more openly, which I think is a really important message for our listeners.
So we've got Jennifer with the family business, Matthew with the financial advisory firm, and Lorraine with the purpose-driven startup. Right, so what are some of the key things that came out of those discussions, Granger? So Granger, in scaling up, what did our guests say about getting started?
Well, Kevin, one thing that really struck me was Lorraine's emphasis on validating your business idea. She learned the hard way that you need to ensure people actually want or need your product or service, not just what you think they want.
Yeah, she's got a point. I mean, it's easy to fall in love with your own idea and assume everyone else will too. Did Jennifer or Matthew have the same perspective?
Not quite as explicitly, but their businesses are in more established sectors with defined customer needs. Lorraine came from the, tech world where I guess there's a tendency to be coming up with stuff that people don't really need.
Okay, so slightly different perspective then.
Yeah, but Lorraine also highlighted focus as a superpower, warning against being easily distracted by new opportunities, which was a challenge in her tech business.
Makes sense. It's easy to get shiny object syndrome, isn't it? So how does that translate to Smart 90 then?
Well, exactly. It's about setting those clear goals and sticking to them. Don't get distracted by, the latest trends or new ideas that pop up halfway through the 90 days. Keep laser focused on the outcomes you planned at the start, which is why the 90 summits are so important, right? We're constantly kind of reviewing and keeping everybody on track.
Linked to that, what did you make of the guests' thoughts on timing and patience, Granger?
Interesting stuff, Kevin. Lorraine again had quite a strong view, sort of challenging the idea that there's ever a perfect time to launch. She reckons starting in challenging times can actually position you for growth later, almost like you're battle-hardened, ready to go when the going gets good.
Good point. Yeah, there's never a perfect time, is there?
Absolutely. And I think Jennifer and Matthew echoed that in a way, emphasizing the importance of building momentum and reputation over time. It's not an overnight thing, is it?
No, it takes time, doesn't it? You have to put the effort in consistently and build that trust.
Exactly. Matthew mentioned how long it takes to build a client bank and reach the critical mass needed for recurring income to be comfortable. And Jennifer, she was talking about their growth as consistent and celebrating hitting turnover milestones.
So patience is key then, along with consistency.
Definitely, especially in a marketplace like Lorraine's where you're building trust and reputation from scratch, and in a sector, I guess, where it's difficult to differentiate.
So what do you think, Granger? Is it more important to be first to market or to time things perfectly?
I think Lorraine has a point. You can never really time things perfectly. So as long as you've done that validation piece that we talked about, just get started.
Moving on, both Matthew and Jennifer highlighted the power of referrals for getting new business, didn't they?
They did, Kevin. It's interesting how consistent that is, across different sectors. They both reckoned referrals were their most successful method, particularly in terms of conversion rates.
Makes sense, doesn't it? That established trust, the know, like, and trust element, it's huge. It's almost like half the sales work is already done.
Absolutely. Jennifer mentioned having to refocus on networking and referrals after a Google algorithm update impacted her website leads. I think there's a real lesson there, isn't there? Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
So true. And what about building credibility, Granger? Matthew talked about the challenges of that when starting out as a solo financial advisor.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially when you're asking people to trust you with their wealth. He said it was all about demonstrating competence, determination, and presenting himself well. Building confidence even if you're faking it till you make it kind of thing, right?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that in the early days, isn't there? Fake it till you make it. But I think Lorraine's approach to building credibility was interesting too.
How do you mean?
Well, she focused on product vetting and securing accreditations and awards for Party Without Plastic. That instant validation, I guess, it generates interest and spikes in business. And I guess it is more effective than traditional advertising, really. What do you think is more important then, referrals or credibility?
They're both vital, but you need credibility to get the referrals in the first place, don't you? It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, but I think focusing on building that initial trust and showing you know your stuff is key. Then the referrals will follow.
So, Granger, what about the people side of scaling? Managing teams, building a good company culture. What did our guests have to say about that?
Well, both Lorraine and Jennifer touched on the challenges of delegation, Kevin. It's a classic struggle, isn't it? Learning to let go and trust others.
Absolutely. Lorraine especially, describing herself as a control freak, she found it tough to delegate. She realized it actually took more time to manage a team than just doing everything herself initially.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to invest that time up front to empower your team. And Jennifer mentioned the challenge of being dragged into day-to-day operations, needing to hold herself back from solving problems others could handle.
That's a hard one, especially when you see things that need fixing. But you have to give your team the space to learn and grow.
Exactly. And it's not just about delegation, it's about building a strong company culture. Jennifer placed a huge emphasis on that.
Yeah, she sees a positive internal culture and employee well-being as crucial for attracting and retaining staff, especially when you can't compete on salary with bigger businesses. That's a clever way to deal with a talent shortage.
Smart, right? She highlighted listening to the team, explaining decisions, and having robust induction and regular review processes. It's all about making people feel valued and invested in.
Lorraine also talked about building teams that share the company's values and giving them ownership of their work. I think that's key, isn't it? People are more motivated when they feel like they're contributing to something bigger than themselves.
Definitely. It's all about creating a supportive and empowering environment where people can thrive.
Okay, so we've talked about the internal stuff, but what about all the curveballs the world throws at you? How did our guests deal with navigating external challenges?
Resilience, Kevin, that was a major theme. Jennifer noted the inherent resilience of small businesses to push through adverse world events and economic downturns.
Absolutely. Small businesses are often more nimble and adaptable, right? They can pivot more quickly than big corporations.
And Matthew, in the financial sector, was advising clients through volatile markets. You've got to have a thick skin and a steady hand in that world.
No kidding. And it's not just about economic factors, is it? It's about adapting to change in general.
Exactly. Jennifer mentioned keeping up with technological advancements in ISO standards, like AI, and adapting her marketing after Google algorithm changes. You can't stand still.
You certainly can't. You have to be constantly learning and evolving. Matthew has to stay current with ever-changing financial regulations and budget changes. It's a moving target.
Totally. And Lorraine has to vet materials against her sustainability criteria and navigate consumer confusion around greenwashing. So many challenges out there, you've got to stay sharp.
So true. But I think the most interesting thing was Lorraine's perspective on learning from setbacks.
Oh yeah, she's a big advocate for that, isn't she? Argues that Britain should be more open about discussing business failures, viewing them as badges of honour rather than something to hide.
I love that. It's so important to embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Her lessons on validating ideas, focus, and seeking external challenge all stem directly from a past failure.
Exactly. And even Jennifer mentioned frustrating external factors, like algorithm changes, that felt like steps backward. It's all part of the journey. You have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going.
So, Granger, shifting gears slightly, what about the underlying business philosophies that were driving our guests?
That's a really interesting point, Kevin. It's clear each of them had a distinct approach. Jennifer, for example, seemed really focused on, creating a positive environment. Really great people doing really great work for really great clients, as she put it.
Yeah, a real emphasis on relationships and quality, going beyond just the bottom line, sort of a virtuous circle thing going on there. And
Matthew's all about helping people achieve their financial goals. It's very client-centric, but the main driver seems to be more, shall we say, traditionally focused on sustainable financial growth and control. Solid, dependable.
makes sense given his profession. And Lorraine?
Lorraine is coming from a totally different angle, purpose-driven, through and through. Her business, Party Without Plastic, is directly tied to environmental concerns sparked by her son. It's not just about making money, it's about making a difference.
Absolutely. She's a big believer that you don't have to choose between purpose and profit, that building something meaningful is a total win. Do you think that reflects a generational shift, this desire for purpose-driven businesses?
Could be, or it could just be a reflection of Lorraine's own values and experiences. But it does raise the question, can a business be too focused on purpose? Is there a point where it becomes detrimental to profitability?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Ultimately, a business needs to be sustainable financially, regardless of its purpose. It's about finding that balance. What about long-term vision? Did our guests have a clear view of the future?
Definitely. Jennifer emphasized that ISO standards should be seen as long-term business improvement tools, not quick fixes. Matthew's financial advice focuses on long-term financial planning and time in the market rather than short-term gains.
Right, planting seeds for the future. And Lorraine?
Lorraine views Party Without Plastic as a legacy business, something that will outlive her and continue to make a positive impact. It's that long-term vision that keeps her going. I think that's key, actually, having that vision in your mind.
So, summing up, Granger, it seems a few key themes emerged from these discussions.
Absolutely, Kevin. Strong relationships, both with clients and within your team, came up time and again. That human connection is so crucial, isn't it?
Definitely. And resilience. The ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to change, and keep pushing forward, no matter what.
Essential for any business owner, I think. And then there's the ongoing learning. Never stop seeking knowledge, challenging assumptions, and refining your approach.
Precisely. Jennifer, Matthew, and Lorraine are all testaments to that. If you've enjoyed these insights and want to delve deeper, we highly recommend checking out the full-length interviews with Jennifer Appleton, Matthew Naylor, and Lorraine Allman.
Just search for ScaleUp Radio wherever you get your podcasts, and you'll find them there. There's tons more to unpack in those longer chats.
And if you're a business owner looking to scale up your own business, then why not find out more about how the Smart 90 system can help you get there?
Visit smart90.co.uk to discover how our proven 90-day execution system can transform your business.
smart90.co.uk. Thanks for tuning in to ScaleUp Radio Shorts.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time.